Welcome to another edition of Mike and Scott's BS Session, home of the latest news in the bass fishing industry. So pull up a chair and get ready. This is not your mama's fishing show. Okay, enough of the blah, blah, blah. Here's Mike and Scott.
Another beautiful day.
An incredible day, Scotty.
It's been an incredible week. I wish I had the occasion to have gone fishing this week.
Yes.
But with the good weather comes a lot of good work. So I had to do my part and pay the bills.
Well, you know, we got to do what we got to do, right?
Yeah.
And today, as you can see, I mean, my office is right on the river. That's the sad part.
Yeah, that must kill you.
Oh.
Can you see the water from your office?
Yeah, right there. It's right there. And I see a boat every now and then going by. Today,
it was a little bit windy today.
It was a little bit breezy, but we saw the Montreal Port's hydroplane.
Okay.
All right. Hovercraft, which uses two Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6 engines on it.
I see it.
So everybody came up and we looked out the window and watched. It was fun.
I'm sure it must have been a blast.
So much fun.
A bunch of kids looking at the ice cream truck.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, there's a bunch of nose marks on the glass. Right?
Yeah, right?
It's crazy. Tonight we get a special guest.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. It's Mikey Big D.
From Lunkerville.
The Ville, Le Gros Poisson.
Yeah, and he'll be on in the next few minutes.
Yep.
So we'll do a quick little intro here and get this party started, right?
Right.
So,
here we go.
Yep. Well, tonight's show is brought to us by Zico Shoes.
I got my Zicos on.
I got my Zicos on, too.
I jumped in the water.
You got the Crimsons,
yeah,
right?
I jumped in the water with the Crimsons last week when I launched the boat. And I got the boat back in, and I was alone.
How long before they were dry?
It was, I'd say 30 minutes.
That's pretty good.
It was very good. And they're comfortable. I mean, they're light. You don't even feel like they're on your feet.
No, they're very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm ordering like 4 more pairs.
4 more pairs?
Yeah, I think I ordered 4 more.
You already got like 4 pairs.
Yeah, well, 4, even number 8.
Oh, I see.
I got to get company for the other 4.
One for each day and then one for special occasions.
Yeah, they're really good shoes. And then I threw them in the washer.
You did?
To clean them. That's what you're supposed to do.
Really?
And came out like brand new.
Wow. Well, I haven't got to that stage yet. This is the first day. I got my shipment today.
You did? How do they fit?
Yeah. They fit good. They fit great.
Good? Yeah? They're light, eh?
They're super light. They're like slippers.
Yeah, it's like you have nothing on your feet.
Yeah. I got one size, a half a size bigger than what I usually get.
Right.
But I think I could have probably, stayed with my original size.
I think so. Be careful. Because you know what you're told.
Because I don't have socks on.
Yeah, they told me always order a bit bigger because the worst thing you could have in these shoes is your toe touching the front. Because they said when it gets wet, it chafes and it would wear the skin off the front of your toe.
That's not good.
It's very
that would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So no, we don't want that happening.
So from Zico Shoes, you can expect to get high performance EVA soles.
Yep.
Sturdy sole absorption for shock and comfort all day when you're standing on the boat.
You got it.
Unisex styling. You know, for you, that's very important.
And it is, because I fish with you.
both for both guys and gals.
You're lost for words.
I am. You caught me off guard with that. I thought I had you, and then you slammed me back with another. So, yeah. Oh, they got a great bunch of different styles, models, colors.
Go take a look at it. I'm going to finish it off because Scotty's babbling along.
ZicoShoes.com.
Go to ZicoShoes.com or go to fishingcanada.net. You can see the Zico Shoes banner and logo on the right side of the page. Follow the links.
Click,
and go get yourself some of these puppies because they are the cat's meow for fishing. Not just fishing. I walk around the mall with them. I walk everywhere with these things. They're super outdoor shoes.
Absolutely.
That you don't care if you get wet.
For sure.
All right. Go ahead, boy.
Yep. Well, that's it. Let's see what's going on over here. Mike is still not on the phone, so
that's good.
We can move into our tidbits.
No, we're going to You're going to move into
the actual introduction.
The actual introduction of our guest.
Well, our schedule is a little bit off this week.
Well,
we made the show a little bit earlier, and then we thought we'd be able to start playing the show as of 4:45.
But the software doesn't let us do that.
Doesn't let us do quarters.
15-minute increments.
No quarters.
Always 30-minute increments. So we learned something new today. And if we do offset the show again, we'll have to offset it in 30-minute increments.
Correct.
That's the way.
My mistake.
So tonight's guest is also known as Michael de Avila. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Michael de Avila.
Yeah, better known as Mike D.
Mike D. from Lunkerville. Mm-hmm. Yep. So Mike D. is actually got a long background in in filmmaking.
Yeah, he does.
Producing.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I did a little bit of Googling. And
yeah, and it all came out. All the dirt came out.
And they're not those kind of films, right?
Not that we know. We're going to get into it.
That's right.
We're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Mike could have another.
You never know.
Another talent.
If he is, I'd really like to need a staff. But that's a whole other issue.
You never know.
So his show can be found on WFN, World Fishing Network.
World Fishing Network. Yeah.
NBC Sports. It's all over the place.
It's being carried
Sportsman
everywhere.
Channel.
Mike is an icon.
Yeah, he is. He's based out of New York. New York.
Yep.
And
I've actually seen him fishing Central Park.
Yeah, I saw that show.
That's
pretty
crazy.
For sure. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, definitely. And he's on the air, so let's bring him on.
Well, listen, I'm anxious to speak to Mike because he has a great name.
I figured you would think that.
He fishes, right? And
you like how I sent you that text earlier?
Yeah.
Mike had something to say.
That's right. It was Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
It was great. Let's bring him up before he hangs up on us.
Yeah,
anyway.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Mike, welcome to Mike and Scott's BS session.
What's going on, Mike and Scott?
We're doing great. We're doing great, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Temperature here today, it's like 25 degrees Celsius, which is very, very warm for this time of year. So we're all doing good. How are you doing?
I don't know what 25 degrees Celsius means. Well, what is that in Fahrenheit?
It's about 75, 80.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's about that. No, it's actually cooler here in New York City. It's in the 60s right now.
Really?
It's a little chilly. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hopefully that cold weather doesn't come north.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, Mike, we were just saying, or I was just saying to Scott, that I remember seeing the show where you were fishing in Central Park, and I want to give you a bit of a lead into how I fell upon your show. Is I was looking around the TV for fishing shows that day, and I stumbled onto the channel, and you were throwing, I think, a Senko underneath a bush or something, and I said, okay, here's a fishing show, and then everything started to go like off the rails. Like I started seeing people going around in rowboats and all kinds of stuff, and I said, what the heck is going on? And you were in Central Park. What was that all about?
Well, that's right. Central Park is my honey hole, my Lunkerville. I live in New York City. I've been here for over 20 years. And that's actually where I started fishing. Uh-oh, I'm getting a little echo. Is that me or you?
Oh, that's me. All right, hold
probably,
on.
yes. Okay. We got her under control. Go ahead.
Okay. And every season I try to do a show in Central Park because it is my honey hole, and it's so unusual. Like Lunkerville. Lunkerville is not your average fishing show, as you know.
Right.
And, I love it. And every time I go fishing in Central Park, it's always a unique experience because, number one, most people don't expect you to be able to catch fish in the middle of Manhattan, which you can. And just a little interesting tidbit, my biggest largemouth bass that I've caught on the show was in Central Park in the first season of the show. That one that you were talking about, I think, that I flipped under a bush. Yeah, with a Senko, of course. I love the Senko. Well, now I use the trick stick, which is, big bite baits version of the Senko. But we can, use the kind of Kleenex idea that the Senko branded the name. So any soft stick bait is called a Senko. So, yeah, hey, if it works, why not use it? And that's my favorite bait, although I have kind of weaned myself off of it over the years. But, that's where it all started, and I like to go back there every year.
Sounds good. Your show, Lunkerville, as you said, and as we know, it's a very unique show and a unique concept. What was your inspiration behind the show and the production of this whole fishing show?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting backstory. I actually didn't start fishing in my 30s, but I got back into fishing in my mid-30s. I fished as a kid with my neighbor. Have a lot of great fond memories of fishing when I was in 4th, 5th, 6th grade. And then my neighbor moved away, and I didn't have a fishing buddy anymore. And I just kind of stopped fishing. I stopped fishing. It's just something that, at that age I just stopped doing. And then always in the back of my mind, I wanted to get back into it. And I'd been living in New York City, and like I said, I was in my mid-30s. And just one day, I had this inspiration or idea that I wanted to go fishing again. So I started fishing. I went to Central Park, caught some fish, joined a discussion group online, nybass.com, a New York bass fishing discussion group, and I just started fishing again, and I loved it. I was hooked. I caught the bug, and a couple years later, I kind of melded my love for fishing from my love for filmmaking, because I have a filmmaking background. I went to school for filmmaking, and I would have a production company where I make all sorts of film productions. And I was also watching a lot of fishing shows at that time. And I enjoy fishing shows as much as everyone else. I love seeing people catch fish and big fish, and the host teaching me how to catch those fish. But something went off in my mind. I was like, all these shows seem the same to me. There was an opportunity for something new, something different. So I experimented. I was like, what if I went out as the host, but I'm not the expert, and I wasn't the expert at that time anyway, so it didn't matter. And I found everyday people, and at the beginning they were people on this discussion group, NewYorkBass.com, that I would use, and they became the expert. And I was the curious one. I would just ask, how do you do this? What's that bait about? Why are you fishing here? And it just was interesting. And then I also used this kind of idea of telling a story. Like, there wasn't any set format for the show. It was just about whatever story evolved. And often that story is about fishing, but sometimes it's about something else. And it just kind of took off.
Okay.
So when you're filming these shows, is it scripted, or are you guys really flying by the seat of your pants type of thing?
It can't be less scripted, and we totally fly by the seat of our pants. And I actually don't even like to talk to the guests much before we shoot. My objective is I want it to be like two guys out fishing, just two friends out fishing, having a good time, and embracing this idea that fishing should be relaxed. It should be just enjoying the outdoors. It should be about learning. And I really wanted to promote that idea, and it wasn't about the big fish. Although, on the show, I like to, give tips. The guest gives tips. I don't give tips ever. That's another thing on the show. You'll never see me give tips. You'll never see me, except on the shows in Central Park where I'm fishing by myself sometimes. You won't see me be the hot shot. I let my guest be the expert and the hero of the show. And that guest almost always has never been on TV before. And the story just kind of happens. And sometimes the story, like I said, is just that day, how the fishing day went, which usually starts off rough. We had a tough time catching fish, but the guest figures it out. And it has that perfect dramatic arc that I want. When you have conflict, develop a character, and then you have the glory at the end. And that's what I always try for. But, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But what I do know is that everyone is interesting for at least a half-hour episode. So I can always make a story out of it. And that's why Lunkerville from show to show seems a little different, seems a little unusual. Like, you might go, what did he just say? Or what just happened? Because we don't follow the formula.
Yeah, there's no set format, which is one of the things I really like about the show. And the fact that you let your guests really, dictate the pace of the fishing is a really interesting concept. It's something that I really like about the show.
Yeah, no, it's a unique view. It's sort of, Mike is Joe Everybody.
Yeah.
Who has all these questions to ask, and he sort of is the voice of the people on the show.
Your typical fishing show these days is a tournament angler who's on the water, and he's showing you this, he's showing you that. He knows everything about everything, and it's a lot of the same stuff going all around and around. And I think, Mike, the concept of your show is refreshing.
Yeah, it's a really neat idea for sure.
It's more about the essence of fishing and less about
being a pro,
being a tournament angler.
That's it. No, for sure. One of the things I wanted to talk about today, Mike, and touch on is we know that every day you get on the water, it doesn't necessarily turn out the way you expect it to, right? So when you guys go out there to film this show, how do you manage days where the weather's bad or just the fish just plain aren't biting?
Well, the story is the story. Like I said, I mean, if the weather's really bad, if it's raining, we often have to postpone. And that's just the way it is. I mean, the camera does not like a lot of rain. It's just hard to shoot, hard to keep the lens clean. If it's sprinkling a little bit, if there's a shower here and there, we'll just, go in the car for a little bit and come back out when it's not raining. Now, if the fish aren't biting, which happens a lot, we just stay out there until they bite. And that happens more often than not on Lunkerville. And,
right.
The fact that we're not concerned about a lot of fish or the biggest fish makes it okay. And, a testament to that is, I think, 3 of the most favorite shows that we've shot, that I've gotten the most feedback from, have been the ones that we haven't caught many fish. And it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing. It's like, I remember the first season, well, not an odd thing. It's actually a wonderful thing for me, but I didn't expect it. Like in our first season, we shot this ice fishing show where we were catching little smelt on Lake Champlain. Like, it was just hardly catching anything. And that got awarded the best freshwater fishing episode of the Sportsman Channel that year. We hadn't been on the network for even 9 months. People loved it. Another popular show was one where I go out fishing with a mother and her daughter, and we're catching hardly anything. I mean, we're catching the tiniest little panfish and smallmouth bass you could ever imagine, but people weren't concerned about that. They were interested in this idea of a mother taking her daughter fishing, and then me as the host inquiring about what's going on and why this is important. And in the last season, we did a show, which there was a time where I thought we might not be able to air because we only caught 1 fish. It was in Hawaii. And I went smallmouth bass fishing in Hawaii with this fellow. His name's Mark White, and he makes his own ceramic lures in his barn behind his house, and they're very nice lures. And I get so many emails about that episode, how people love it because they love the setting, they love the banter between us, they love seeing him make these lures, and no one once mentions that, we only caught 1 fish. And when I mention it, they're like, really? You only caught 1 fish on that show?
Almost like,
so, that's
like
they
didn't notice.
It's not really about catching the biggest fish. The fishing show format is a conduit for me to tell stories about people and also to tell this story that's been forgotten, that fishing can be easy, it can be fun, it can be laid back, it can be a de-stressor in your life, that, and it's affordable to just get out there and do it. It's not about the biggest fish, and that's totally lost in almost every fishing show on television now, because it's about, like you said, tournament fishing, or the host that's an expert, in catching all the big fish. You watch Bill Dance, and I love Bill Dance. He's the original fishing show host, but he's fishing on a farm pond and catching these 5, 6, 7 pounders, cast after cast, and that's fine. I love seeing those big, beautiful fish, but it's just educational to me. This is more about the lifestyle of fishing.
Yeah, it's less realistic than a day on the water with
with your neighbor.
With your neighbor.
yeah, where you're not going to catch 100 fish, they're not going to be 10 pounds. But to Mike's point, there's a lot of it's sort of a mental exercise, right? Mm. It's getting out there and enjoying everything else that is about fishing, and it's not just about catching 30 10-pound fish.
Correct.
Right?
And yes, and the thing is, that's really important to people who haven't fished before and who are new at fishing. And that's who we want to bring in too. We want to bring in people who are curious about it. They might flip around the channel on their TV and see that show with the curious name Lunkerville, and then start playing it for a little while, and then be like, wow, this is kind of funny and it's interesting, and I kind of want to go outside and try fishing. I mean, we want to promote the idea that it can be easy, affordable, and it's not about catching a lot of fish. It's just about going out and doing it.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I like so much about it, is also that it's like you said, it's not about the big fish. It's the story behind the day on the water.
Well, that's it. Yeah. And Mike, I've been fishing with Scott for a couple of years now, and I've been telling Scott, I've been telling Scott, who gets upset, right? When I just keep you hauling tank after tank into the boat. It's not about the fish, Scott.
Right. I got you, Mike.
And get good at the net. The net is a good thing.
The net is a very important part of the day, yeah, for sure.
It's about all of that. I mean, I fished in tournaments before. I was actually a president of a fishing club here in New York for a couple of years, and did fishing tournaments. I fished the BFL for a little bit. I got to experience that too, and there's something to be said for that also. That's fine. But this is something different. It offers the viewer entertainment, something that's different, something that embraces the lifestyle of fishing, and they can think to themselves, hey, maybe I can be on Lunkerville. Like, it's not out of the question, no matter the skill level, that I could be on Lunkerville.
Right. Yeah, that's the big thing. It's everyday Joe. That was the refreshing thing when I turned into the show. Here's a guy throwing a Senko under a bush in Central Park.
Which was really cool, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. There was no boat involved. There's these guys going in paddle boats or rowboats around Mike, and he pulls out this chunk from underneath the bush.
It was a serious chunk. I call her Betty. I still keep a picture of her in my wallet.
Mike, how did I got to ask the obvious question here? How did the fish get into Central Park water?
Well, I mean, they stocked it at some point, because all waters like that need to have fish to keep it healthy, they stock it. And I think the last time they stocked it was the 1980s, so they haven't stocked it since, as far as I know. And it's just a healthy body of water, and they just stocked it properly. And it is fished. I'm not the only one who fishes there. It is legal to fish there. They encourage fishing, and there's a few places in Central Park and in Prospect Park, all throughout New York City, actually, in the 5 boroughs, where you can fish, and you'll see people fishing there all the time. Now, it's catch and release only, and that helps obviously a lot. But it's just a lake or a big pond, and that has nice fish in it.
So, having had the opportunity to fish with all these different people and hosting Lunkerville, how has this made you a better angler?
Well, yeah. Now, Lunkerville has been on television every week for over 9 years. We're shooting our 10th year right now. So, and I'll have my 100th episode this year.
Really?
Now, yeah. So fishing with that many people, I better learn something, you would think. So yes, I've learned a lot from everyday average people. And my motto is, anyone who has a passion for fishing has something to teach me. And that's basically what it is. So I just ask a lot of questions. I retain a lot of this. But me being the host and not the expert, but the enthusiast, I don't want to learn too much. I mean, of course, now at this time I ask questions that I know the answers at times. Of course, I know a lot of the answers to the questions. But that's the dynamic of the show. I'm always like the guy who's just kind of starting out. And I'll get these posts on my Facebook page and in the forums, like, what is up with this Lunkerville and Mike D? Man, he sucks. How did he get his own fishing show? I get that all the time. It's like, well, he can't even cast the baitcaster. But you know what? I love those posts. They're my favorite posts, because what happens is other people come and defend the show. And they explain the show to this person. Because it's usually a kid who's like 15 or 16, sometimes an older person, but it's obviously someone who doesn't know the show.
Right.
So I just sit back and read all the replies, and I love to see people define the show, and they say it exactly the way it is. Like, don't you get it? Mike's not the expert. It's the guest that's the expert. He's learning from them. That's the dynamic, and I love it. But at first it stings a little bit. Listen, everyone wants to be loved, but soon enough people come on and defend the show for what it is.
Well, that's great that you have your defense network for you there too. That that's.
Well, it just shows you people enjoy the show.
That shows you that people appreciate the show.
Well, that's it, and the way Mike, the platform that Mike is presenting it, right? Now, Mike, you said something key there, and that is the fact that you're like into your 10th season, weekly season. So if I count straight and do some quick math here, that's over 500 episodes of Lunkerville.
Well, he's going to do his 100th episode.
Well, we're about to do our 100th. We do repeats, of course.
Okay, so it's 100. There's 100 episodes of Lunkerville that have been recorded, correct?
Almost. We'll be over 100 this year. We do 13 episodes a year.
Okay.
There was one year in there where we ran reruns because we were switching networks. We've gone from different networks, so there are times where we didn't shoot or we stretched out the season just because we saw that the new network, the audience had never seen the show. So we wanted to air repeats. Now, we air on World Fishing Network, and that season premieres in September. That will be season 8, and they will premiere the entire 13 episodes, and they'll rerun them all year for 1 year, 13 episodes, six times a week.
Okay, so 100 shows all over the planet, different species and types of fish all over the world. He's sort of like Cyril Chaquette.
It's not. It's mostly the U.S. We're expanding more into Canada, and up till this season, we were mostly bass and very little saltwater. So this season, we're doing something a little different because we partnered with our title sponsor, South Bend, and we've decided to get more multi-species. So we're doing about half of our shows for bass, and the other half other species, and some saltwater in there. So we're kind of, mixing it up a little bit.
So you're getting a bit more diversified.
So I mean, bass is the most popular fish here in the U.S. For freshwater, and I've always been more interested in freshwater than saltwater. I just think it's more the vibe that I want to convey, like the calm, outdoorsy vibe, where like saltwater, you're going out into the ocean, which is a monster, and just dropping your line and catching these big fish, which is fine, and I've done that before, but it's just not quite the Lunkerville spirit,
Right.
So tell us, what does South Bend actually do? What do they produce?
Yeah, now South Bend, that's an interesting relationship we have now. South Bend is one of the oldest tackle manufacturers in North America. They've been around for over 100 years, and they produce lures and rods, reels, and terminal tackle. They were very popular 50, 60 years ago, one of the most popular lure manufacturers. In recent times, they've become more of a parent company for a lot of sub-manufacturers, or sub-brands, I mean. So if you go into a store and you're looking for tackle, you might see South Bend labeled with accessories or terminal tackle, but not necessarily rods and reels. They're bringing back the brand name, South Bend, and they're going to have a more broad array of tackle, combos, rods and reels, and more tackle. And they've decided to partner with Lunkerville to make that happen.
So they're revitalizing the company right now, just giving it a little extra life.
Right.
Yeah, basically that's what they're doing. They've decided to invest in Lunkerville because Lunkerville represents the ideals that they represent, which is, fishing can be a lifestyle, it can be affordable, it's emotional, and it's important. That's really the most important thing, is that fishing is important, and most people don't realize that fishing, affordable fishing, can bring people together. It can bring your family together, your friends. If a family of 5 is going out camping for the weekend, they can go up and pick out all the stuff they need and spend $100 or $120 and have a great time fishing with South Bend stuff. And you can't really do that with a lot of other stuff. So that's what they're promoting. I mean, they're definitely on the lower price scale of equipment.
Well, it's getting people on the water, right? Right, Mike? It's getting people involved in the sport, and that's the entry level. And that's the critical point if anyone's going to go on to the further levels, right? You have to go through that entry level.
You have to start somewhere.
Well, exactly. That's never been more important than today because it's been lost. The importance of fishing has been lost. Some people will discover fishing through certain ways. But if you have a company that are on the same page and promoting this idea that, hey, try fishing. It's never too late. Listen, I started fishing again when I was 35, and now I'm making a career out of it. Anyone can get back into fishing at any time. It doesn't have to be intimidating. When you watch these TV shows, And it's kind of intimidating sometimes. You know, it doesn't have to be about competition. When you see a TV show like Lunkerville that romances that lifestyle, you know, and it goes back to like the 50s and 60s, Andy Griffith's show. You know, there's the idea of just like a father and son fishing or friends out fishing. Like it's more about just being out there, just doing it.
Right.
You can catch a little pumpkin seed or a small bass, and maybe you will catch a 4 or 5 pound bass at the same time. But it's about getting introduced to fishing, and then if you catch the bug from that, then maybe you buy more expensive gear, and maybe you want to start competing. Maybe you want to, you know, take it to another level. But it's about introducing people to fishing, but also people that have fished in their lives to reintroduce them.
But I think you touched on a very important point, and the first point you had mentioned is that it's healthy. You know, it's good for people to get out there and do that, and not necessarily, you know, a particular age bracket, but if you can get, you know, teenagers or kids to start fishing, it's an activity for them that, I hate to use the word, but wholesome. You know?
Well, it's a basic activity that we've gotten away from with the age of technology.
Right.
Kids prefer today to sit in front of TV screens with the controllers and
tell me about it,
and play video games and everything else. It's a fundamental activity that's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years that we can't lose our grip on. And I think Mike's show has, I guess, emphasized the fact that we need to keep doing this, not because of the fact that you're going to, you know, run down the lake in a $60,000 boat and catch 5-pound fish and stand on the stage. No, that's not it.
No.
It's to get the family out, do an activity together, be on the outdoors. This is the entry level to creating the guy who may go on to be that tournament fisherman.
Who may or may not.
Exactly. But at least that's a bonding period, and it's a time that your grandfather fishing with you, and I have great memories of my brother, my grandmother, my father fishing with me. And those are things I would not give away for anything.
And honestly, those days and those experiences I had weren't about how many fish you're going to catch.
No, not at all.
What was the biggest fish of the day? You might brag about it around a campfire at the end of the day.
But it was so great to fish with your dad or fish with your grandfather, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And be outdoors.
With family and friends.
Yeah. Mike, Mike, I'm gonna go back and touch on what we were talking about earlier, and that's the amount of shows you were doing. And the question I wanted to ask you is over 100 shows. There's got to be 1 or 2 memorable ones in there. Which ones were they?
Well, let's see. I mean, there's been a lot of memorable ones. I think, you know, in the first season, I mentioned it before, I did this ice fishing show on Lake Champlain. And it wasn't about the fishing. It was about the culture of this small town on Lake Champlain that for over 100 years had this culture of ice fishing for smelt right outside the town. It's like a lakeside town of Port Henry, New York.
Right.
Do you know Port Henry?
Yes, we do.
Where the port is, right? Port St. Henry is also there?
Port Henry, there's Port Henry. It's like on the southern end of Lake Champlain.
Right.
So, you know, the people would they build their own wooden shanties, you know, and they all have their own certain character. And they would park them out on the lake, and they would put them out in like December, January, leave them there till like March, and they would park them in these channels where the smelt would come and the trout would follow them, and they would just sit in there and fish for smelt, and it was nice and toasty and warm. They'd have a stove going, and they'd cook their venison out there, and they'd run from shanty to shanty and just kind of hang out, and it was really, you know, about the culture. And one of my guests, he was talking about how you know, he had 5 generations of his family who had done the same thing in the same place. And that
that's crazy.
told me it was about the importance of fishing and, you know, how it can bring people together. And it was about enjoying the outdoors. And that was the show that won that award, the favorite freshwater fishing award at the Sportsman Channel, after we'd been on for 9 months only, because it was about the story and the people. And that's when I realized that I had something going, and I had to keep that going. So that's definitely one of the most memorable because there were so many interesting characters there. You know, there was another show where I got pulled over by a policeman. And it was early in the morning. It was 4 in the morning. I was on the Long Island Expressway, and I was going to meet a father and his son to go fishing. And I guess I was going really fast. And he pulled me over, and my cameraman was sitting next to me, and he had the camera in his lap, and I told him to record.
Right.
just to cover the light that says you're recording, and I said, just angle it so you can see him. And so we recorded that incident and blurred out the policeman's face and everything. That was kind of interesting. But there's been a lot of interesting
Sure it was.
It's all about the story, and I want things like that to happen. I want there to be conflict. I want there to be, I want us to have a hard time fishing, actually, at first. Some of the most boring episodes, ironically, are the ones where we're just catching fish left and right.
Right.
Because I don't have a chance to even talk with a guest much.
Right, you're too busy.
And it's great, but I only need 7 or 8 fish to make a show. So if we're catching 40, 50 fish, we're all concentrating on catching the fish, but that's not what I want. So what happens more than not on the show, almost always, I would say about 75% of the time, is first the guest says we're going to catch a ton of fish. And I tell him, don't do that. You're going to curse it. And then we go out and we go 3, 4, 5 hours without a sniff or maybe one fish. And then the guest gets really nervous and feels like crap. And they're like, oh, God, I look like a jerk. I'm horrible. This is the worst show ever for Lunkerville. And then we're out there for 6 or 8 hours, and we end up catching fish. And I know that I have a great show.
Right. Well,
but that person always leaves like, oh, I still screwed up. This is not the fishing day that I promised Mike. But then when I edit it and put it together,
it works out
they're
great.
Like, oh, my God, I look amazing.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, Mike, I think I could do something for you here.
No,
I'm sure I could
no,
get you
no, hold on.
5 fish in a day.
Mike said he needed 5 fish.
Yeah, I think I could.
No. If he can record over a few days.
Oh, okay. I thought I had more time.
Yeah, no. Mike needs 5 fish in one day.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. I'm going to change gears on you a little bit because you have a pretty interesting background, also, being that you're in filmmaking, and I think you've produced.
Yeah, you produced
a few shows and movies. What's going on with your film production? What's going on with
the future with Mike?
Yeah, filmmaking.
Well, I got a little echo here again. Oh. What happened? Did something happen?
No, yeah, we've got cars running in front of the garage.
Yeah,
that's all it is. But what we asked you was essentially, Mike, we know you've been in the film industry for quite a while. Then you branched out and you developed Lunkerville. You've been running Lunkerville for about 10 years. What's down the pipe? What's coming down the pipe for Mike D in his filmmaking career?
Yeah, well, I did start with film, so I went to school for filmmaking, film directing, cinematography, and I started a company with my good friend from film school, and we produced and directed a number of films, I think 6 or 7. But filmmaking, feature filmmaking, is a very laborious process. It takes years. You have to write a script, you have to raise money, you have to shoot it and edit it, and then the hardest part starts. You have to sell it, and you want to see an audience. And I did that for years. And I'm not really doing that much anymore because it's just hard to make a living doing that, honestly.
Right.
Whereas
Fair
when
enough.
I started Lunkerville,
yeah,
it's amazing. I shoot in one day.
Yeah.
I edit it over a week or so. I deliver it to networks, and I have an audience, and that's a wonderful thing. And I get to just do it over and over and over. Now, I do a lot of other film productions. I do a lot of short film work for fashion retail companies, believe it or not. I'm here in New York, and I've been doing that for about 15
Sound of
years.
that.
Yeah.
I work with like The Gap and Keds and Hush Puppies, Lucky Jeans, companies like that who have retail stores, and I make short films for their websites, for commercials, for like taxi cabs, in-store, stuff like that. So I still do a lot of that. That's kind of the level of my filmmaking now, is that and Lunkerville. But I think of Lunkerville as a film. I mean, I think of them as 30-minute short films, basically.
Yeah, it's sort of this.
Well, it's basically the same procedure, right?
It's an infinite process, right? That just continues on and on and on.
Editing and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, I think of them as a story. So I always try to, when I edit together a Lunkerville episode and kind of finish it off, I always want there to be a little emotional tug in there,
right,
which you wouldn't even think of in fishing shows. But I always want there to be some sort of emotional tug. I want there to be a dramatic arc. I want you to know who this person I'm fishing with. I want there to be conflict. I want there to be, character. And that's what you do in a film. The same thing you would do in a movie.
No, that makes sense. It's sort of a little short story on some event with within the fishing realm, and that's great.
Yeah.
And
I don't like to repeat the same thing, and that's why I don't want it to be formulaic. I want it to be unexpected at times.
Yeah, no, it's on the spot and spontaneous, which makes people keep listening.
Well, and the fact that you have different characters and different people coming on the show every episode, gives it kind of like a new life every time.
I mean, it's like a reality show.
You're dealing with a different person every time, every show.
No, it's really, really cool. Mike, we know that you're going to be busy tonight. It's Friday night. You got to get going, I believe, to a dinner, so we're not going to keep you back too much longer. So before we leave, are there any sponsors you'd like to highlight that definitely support and give you good support with the Lunkerville episodes?
Well, yes. I mean, we have South Bend, which we talked about before, who's our new title sponsor. And actually, the show name is changing a little bit in September. It's going to now be called South Bend Lunkerville. So this is a full brand integration, and it's not just about a sponsor or them buying advertising. It's about a full integration of the two brands and promoting what I said before, the lifestyle, importance, and emotion of fishing. I'd like to give also a shout-out to Big Bite Baits. They're our sponsor of ours. They make super quality soft baits. Check them out. Sunline is our line sponsor. They make some fabulous product. You have to check that out. They're a leader in the industry. And Spro makes the best hard lures, that I've known. But you'll hear me say this on the radio show, but you won't hear me say it on the show.
Right.
That's another thing. I don't promote
on
the show like that. I will use it, but I told all my sponsors, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be holding up your baits and being like, hey, this is the best there is. And that's what makes Lunkerville different. It is not an infomercial. It's not. You're not going to see me hawking goods. I said, listen, I'm the host, but I'm the enthusiast. It's my guest who's the expert. If the guest wants to say they think Spro or Big Bite Baits or Sunline or South Bend is the best, they can say it. Oh, another thing. Another sponsor I got to give a shout out to, Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is a sponsor of ours, and we ran a contest last year where you could buy a bottle of Mountain Dew and with an orange cap. It was called Dew Outdoors, and there was a little code in there, and you'd go on their website and enter the code and win a chance to be on Lunkerville. And we have a guy who won the contest. His name's Bud Devine, and he's coming to New York City, and we're going to wine and dine him. He's going to spend 3 nights here, and we're going to do a whole episode in Central Park with Bud.
That's really cool. I think if you're saying that you're going to expand into Canada, you have to fish the Mike and Scott's BS session.
Oh, I'm doing a sturgeon show up there in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep, and I'd probably do another one, but I would love to meet you guys.
Well, I can tell you now, Mike.
Well, you have an open invitation. You're welcome to come down anytime.
You are, and we're very close to New York.
We are. We're right on the plane and Lake St. Francis, I think.
Yeah.
I just saw that show I heard last week, I think.
I did 2 shows up there. We didn't have very good luck, but they were still entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely good. I watched the show. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. And we would aim for a fall show, and it would be very entertaining. We guarantee it.
You may have heard
you
that.
Guys are funny. I definitely want to keep in touch.
For sure.
And this was a lot of fun.
It was, Mike. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule tonight. We know you're a very busy guy, as we had to coordinate logistics during the week and in the preparation to have you on the show. We really do appreciate the fact that you did get us into your schedule, and we're looking forward to having you on later on at a later date to talk some more about how Lunkerville is moving forward, and maybe Mike and Scott's BS session, Lunkerville,
and just shooting some BS.
And just shooting some BS about fishing from the bank.
Exactly.
Post on my Facebook page.
You got it, buddy.
Post some videos, any links, man. That's the first start. And just one last thing, that's how we get guests. So they post on the Facebook page, videos, reports, pictures. That's how we pick the guests for the show.
There you go.
Sounds great.
Okay, Mikey, you take care. And,
thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your weekend.
You too, guys. Take it easy.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What a great guy, eh?
Yeah, what a great interview.
Yeah, really.
One of the best.
I mean, he's one of the guys that, it's not
he's down to earth.
Yeah.
He doesn't have delusions of grandeur
in
terms of like expectations when getting on the water.
Right.
It's a real refreshing look at what fishing is really about.
Of just fishing. Yeah, just fishing.
Like, think back in the day, okay? You got to think way back for you. But if you think back in the day.
What was that about?
It was about all the other comments you've nailed me with earlier. So if you think back just like
last week
a ways, and you think about what it is you went to go do when you went fishing, what was it about?
To me,
I mean, it was about catching fish. Yes.
Yeah, when I went fishing,
but it was about getting out there.
Yeah, when I went fishing as a kid, I used to hang off a dock in Nova Scotia with my buddies,
right?
And we'd take barnacles that were hanging or stuck to the side of the legs of the thing, and fish with those, put those on the hook and put them down, and there was fish down there, and everybody was, hanging off the dock with their head, watching the fish come close.
So it wasn't really about catching the lunker.
No, it was about being with your buddies.
It was about being with your friends, being out in the outdoor, doing an activity that's good for everybody.
And I think the Fishing Canada ripples have the same foundation. It's about getting people on the water.
Yeah.
They're cheap to participate in.
Absolutely.
The prizing is good and it goes deep. But at the end of the day, it's about the camaraderie.
It's about being out there.
Right, camaraderie.
Right. With your peers.
Yeah, getting to know some of the guys, having some fun, and just, wetting a line and going. And bragging rights last until the next event. After that,
they only last so long.
That's it. It's all off the table, and we start to laugh again about who won, who didn't, and who caught nothing and who did.
Exactly.
So it's the same sort of concept, and I think that's why they've been so successful. No doubt.
No,
so let's do a
reverse
order here tonight and throw in the tidbits.
Yeah. So little tidbits here.
Yeah.
If I can find them. The spring bite is on fire, my friend.
Who sings that song? It's on fire.
I don't know.
You know the song, eh?
I know the song.
Yeah.
But everything is on fire right now.
Everything
is
on fire.
You could go to Lake Champlain. You could go fish some of the rivers up in New York and Saranac.
Truck is on fire.
My truck is on fire. It's okay. It's insured.
Yeah.
It is an incredible time of the year to be fishing.
It is. But the only thing that bothers me right now,
the Quebec
Fish
and Wildlife has got to get up on this thing.
You got it.
They got to wise up.
At home?
They got to let us fish. I'm tired of driving 100 friggin' miles to go fish.
Wake up, smell the flowers.
We are catching and releasing bass.
Yeah.
It works all across North America.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect the fisheries. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Let's get on this bandwagon. Let's change this rule
so
that we can enjoy the weather that we've been having this week.
We can not only enjoy the weather we're having this week, but because Pike is open, I think, tomorrow,
I think it's a conspiracy. The government wants us to keep working to collect income tax. That's my theory.
I think you drank too much tonight.
Tonight? We're not even haven't even had supper yet.
Scott's sitting there with a bloody Caesar in his hand.
I'm getting upset.
He's deciding the future of the world. I guess the point here is, why are we throwing all our money into another state or into a state?
Because we don't have a choice.
And we can't throw it at home.
No, we don't have a choice.
Look at the money that's being spent on gas, on gear, I mean, come on. What are we waiting for? Let's revisit this analysis. And you know something? I'll be the first one to say, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But I can tell you right now,
I agree with you.
The last analysis in Quebec was done in 1945 on the bass habitat and bass survival. That's the year you were born. No, that was not the year I was born.
Sorry.
That was after the year I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the year my father was born.
But thanks for calling me so young.
Yeah, my father was born in 45, I think.
And he regrets everything that happened
after that. Yeah.
So no, we got to look at it. But if you are able to go to waters where the season is open for catch and release, i.e., New York, Vermont, etc., I can tell you now, you will not have a better opportunity to fish it than this weekend. It is time to go. Everything is on. The switch is off.
No. Sorry.
What?
As of tomorrow, the switch is off.
What do you mean?
The fishing is going to be terrible.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Of tomorrow,
the fishing is
don't
no good.
Keep the boat in the driveway, people.
Yeah, don't go.
Don't go fishing. Don't waste your time. I'll come. Next week we'll tell you all about it. We'll let you know how
we'll tell you how bad it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the dashboard? Because before we get into some more tidbits,
there's so much sun right now.
Well, I told you there's gonna be sun. We're in the garage. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
With a Mustang commercial.
In 30 seconds with some more.
At Mustang Survival, our recreational products are designed, developed, and made from the same products used by the world's most demanding users. From bass fishermen to leisure boaters, sailors, and kids, Mustang's products are designed for maximum comfort, mobility, and fun. So whether you're looking for the best kids' life jacket, a comfortable PFD for yourself, or the best quality anti-exposure suit for your ice fishing trip, Mustang, the official life preserver of Mike and Scott's BS Session and FishinCanada.net. At Mustang, we save lives for a living.
I love that commercial.
It does. It makes sense.
It makes a heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a heck of a lot of sense. These people are very important. Wear your life
do good
jacket.
work.
Yeah, they do. Wear your life jacket in your boat. That's the point.
Yeah, that is the point of it.
Right.
It's very important.
We're gonna.
These PFDs today are very lightweight.
They are. I mean, they're easy to go. It's not like a big.
They're not in your way. You can fish with them all day.
Yeah, go.
There's no reason not to wear it.
Exactly.
Especially when you're running the big motor.
Wear it. A little bit more on the tidbit side. On the Walmart FLW
Tour. You're
really
serious again.
Yeah, because I took a look today at the Walmart FLW Tour Angler of the Year standings.
Okay. Let me hear it.
1 to 5. Right now, Brett Erler, 570 points. Drew Benton, Michael Neal.
He's in first place, Brent?
Brent is in first place, my friend, with 570 points.
I got to send him a message.
He's 12 points ahead of Benton. All right? We got Mike Neal in third place, Kobe Krager in fourth, and Jacob Poroznik in fifth.
You know, Brent has been runner-up.
Yes.
He's been
the
close
bridesmaid.
So many times.
How many times, right? This is why I want to bring it up today, because he's number one. If it were to end today, Brent wins.
He'd be at the top.
He wins. I am so happy for the guy. I am hoping he can stay there.
Well, he's got quite a few FLW wins.
Yes, he does.
But he has not won the Angler of the Year
That's
yet.
right. And he's been so
he
close.
He deserves it. I'm sure if he keeps it up, he'll get it this year.
No, for sure. Another thing I want to talk about today. How long has the Alabama rig been introduced? Like, what, 2 years? 2 years?
Well,
3 years?
You know what? It's been fished, like, in California.
Right.
They used to fish it, and it's called an umbrella rig.
Yeah, an umbrella rig.
In saltwater fishing, it's been used for
a long time.
Many years.
But I'm saying in the bass community, in the tournament community, 2-3 years?
I would say 3 years.
Okay, so 3 years.
Yeah.
So now that everybody, you remember the introduction when it first came out, right? And Elias and everybody were throwing it, and he made his big success, and they were saying it's illegal, not illegal.
Hit the fan.
The caca hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
Did you just say?
Hey, I figured I'd let it go. Yeah?
Oh, the bloody Caesar just came out.
It just gives me loose lips.
Yeah, you're a loose lip. There we go. So I found it interesting today. I went back and I looked at who has been trending as winners in FLW, Bassmaster, etc.
Don't tell me it's the Alabama rig.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to see.
The guys that have been consistently in the top are not the throwers of the Alabama rig. It's the guys who are still throwing the same stuff that they were throwing, and they're not going to the Alabama rig and are still consistently finishing in the top. So this is telling me...
Well, that's the reason why FLW didn't ban the Alabama rig.
Correct. And this is proof that the Alabama rig is no big advantage. You can throw it if you want.
It could be a winning bait for an event.
It could.
As much as it could be an event.
But overall...
It's not going to win you every event.
That's it. The same guys that are consistently on top are the same guys that aren't throwing the rig.
I threw the Alabama rig all day the other day.
Well, you're living proof that you're not going to win events with it. That was too easy.
I was just going to make a point. You had to interrupt me.
No, okay, good. What's your
the point was I didn't catch any fish on that Alabama rig. But they hit conventional baits. They hit the crankbait.
And that's my point.
They hit a flipping jig. They hit all that stuff.
Right.
But the Alabama rig, they didn't want anything to do with it.
So that is my point. So over the 3 years, I looked at the winners. I took 3 years previous history to the introduction of the A-rig, and the same guys are on top that do not throw the rig. The other thing about the A-rig that we've learned now, as we've been into it 3 years, is as far as the presentation of the A-rig fish go, fish are being torn up. They're being brought in hooked in the sides, right? They're sort of foul hooked on the other hooks, etc. And this is not very pleasing to the camera, obviously, right?
No, you're snagging fish.
Well, essentially, right? They're getting a bit more damaged, right? And now when the guys are bringing the fish to the scales that have been caught on A-rigs, there's these, gouges on the side, there's hook marks. The fish are in rougher shape. So it's not as appealing to the audience, right?
And also, you got to also consider that state to state and province to province, the laws are different.
That's right.
Like in Quebec, we're allowed 3 hooks, I think it is.
Correct.
In New York, you're allowed 5. In Vermont, you're allowed 2.
In Akwesasne, you're allowed 106.
Yeah, in Akwesasne, you can throw a net.
So it varies. To your point,
exactly.
It varies. So the point here, I guess I'm trying to make is that everybody's big, kerfuffle about the A-rig.
Kerfuffle.
Right, being such an illegal bait, and it's going to be an edge for the guy that throws it. Well, I can tell you now, so far it hasn't proved to be a game changer.
No.
It has not put anybody...
It's one event. Without a doubt,
Yep.
it has one event.
But it's not a consistent winner in the end.
It's not gonna change the overall standings.
No, for sure. Definitely, for sure. So, no, that was a good point. Do you have anything else in the tidbit
In the
section?
tidbits, pike season opens this weekend.
Yes, it does. Pike season is
today
here in Quebec.
As of today,
right? In Quebec.
Yeah, in Quebec. As of today,
Toothy critter season is open.
You are allowed to fish those toothy critters. The freshwater barracuda.
Is that what they call it? Wasn't the muskie the barracuda?
Well, whatever. They look the same to me.
Yeah, me too. They're all the same. Muskie pike. These guys are muskie fish. The muskie mystique. It's a pike.
Oh.
What?
Well, I'll let you know after the show.
Okay.
We're going to have a surprise for not next week, because next week we already have a guest booked.
Okay.
The following week.
We have a guest book.
Yeah,
and he's Mike Phillips.
Nope. Not telling you.
Mike Lazarus.
What? What are you doing over here?
I knew it.
I'm still working on the details, but you might have an announcement to make.
Okay, well, that's pretty good.
We've been trying to get a muskie guy on for a while.
Yeah, I know. So we've tried a couple of muskie guys, but they
clam up.
They clam up. Yeah, they clam up the muskie guys. So no, that's true. So before we go to we go to the shout-outs.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to go to another commercial break and pay some
Again?
bills. Yes, we're going to the commercial break and pay some bills. And
you're
going
Blake?
to play
the powerful?
The Evinrude.
Evinrude. Here we go.
Evinrude outboard motors with E-Tech technology are designed to keep you on the water doing what you enjoy and not sitting in the shop. 3 years or 300 hours before you need to service your Evinrude E-Tech power plant. 2-stroke power combined with the economy of a 4-stroke. For those dedicated to water, power, fishing, and fun. Evinrude, official motors sponsor of Mike and Scott's BS Session.
All right.
So let's go to
our shout-outs this week, buddy.
Let's go to our shout-outs. Today, I don't know where I put these things.
Just scroll up. There you go. Jim Van Ryan.
Yeah, shout out to Jim Van Ryan.
Attaboy, Jimbo. Yeah, Jimbo, thanks for hooking us up with...
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thanks for...
My order should be on its way.
Yeah, definitely.
Did I send it to you, or did I send it direct?
I don't know. It's like your shoes. You didn't know where those were either.
I know. I need a personal assistant.
You need more than that. No,
shout
for
out
sure.
to Steve, the boss man, Bosley.
Yes,
from
definitely.
Basket. I think he's going away for the weekend with the white ski.
Well, excuse us.
Yeah.
Steve, the bass cat, is going away with the real cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Woo. Stevie, leave the bathroom in one piece, buddy.
Yes, sir. Don't take that shower curtain with you. It's not a towel. The St. Lawrence Institute, River Institute.
Yeah, our deal is done. We're going for these guys. I want to big thanks to Brian up there at the St. Lawrence River Institute. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to working together this year. Claude Castelgay from Maple Grove Marine. You heard that Evinrude ad.
Yep.
Claude Castelgay is the guy. He hung my 250.
That's where you got to get it.
That's right. He hung my 250. He does service on Scott and mine's engines. You want the best place to go to get your Evinrude service. Maple Grove Marine and Claude Castonguay.
He is the man.
Yes, sir. Reno Viola. Keep on trucking and building up the stream, Reno, at WRVO Radio at renoviola.com. And Cynthia Béchette Wayland and Pierre Castonguay and Jill Johnson at Evinrude BRP for us. Thank you all for your help. You did a great job today. We received all the T-shirts for the giveaway in the Fishing Canada Ripples. I'm sure people are going to be really excited to get those with the hats that are coming from Jill. Have a great weekend, you guys. You earned it. You worked so hard. No doubt. Sponsor recognition.
Yeah,
Fish and Tech.
Gary Gosserin, he's been working really hard trying to get guys' boats ready for the beginning of the season.
Oh, yes, he has. Oh, my God, look at
another
this.
Bloody Caesar.
Another Bloody Caesar has arrived.
Like I'm going to make it to the gym again tonight.
Well, you're going to make it, but it might be in a taxi.
Last night I went to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
A little cross-check.
Oh, yeah? That's not good.
It was not good.
That is not good. Gary hung my 101 Fortrex on my boat, and I can tell you right now, the thing is solid as a rock. He's getting my engine anchor down, actually custom machined by the supplier, and I mean, the guy does incredible work. Incredible work. Fishandtech.com, Gary Gosserin, your VIP list. Add this guy in. You've got to get to know this guy. Hummingbird specialist. All right. Congratulations to Gary and the team at Fish and Tech. Goldwing Auto Care, Mr. Guard, Peter Guard and the boys. Summer tires, rims, truck, bling, tinted windows, you name it. These guys,
they got it.
Will get you looking so hot. They even take care of Big Jim McLaughlin's truck, eh?
Geez, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. That's a big truck.
That's a big truck.
That's a big guy.
Yeah.
Big Jim.
Big truck, big guy.
For sure. K-Way Outdoor Wear, get protected from the elements while not taking up a lot of room in your boats. Now's the time to have one of those suits. They're light, they breathe. You're not going to perspirate and go crazy in these things. You're comfortable, right?
I hear you.
You had yours on the other day.
I did.
Yep. Great stuff.
Felt great.
Sims Baits.
The baits of
glory. Yes, sir. That's the way we roll.
I feel like a gladiator when I say that.
I know. It's crazy. Navionics, making sure you get back from both on land and water. Rachel Chouinard, thank you very much for all your support. Power Pole.
Nothing holds your
boat
better and stronger than
Loic found that out today. I can tell you right now. He said, my friend, it's like Velcro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it locks you in. I use them all the time.
Yeah. Hydraulics versus mechanics. You're going to go with hydraulics. Power Pole is the way to go.
There's no question. It's revolutionized the way I fish.
Mustang Survival. Great news coming out of the Mustang camp last week, but nothing that we're going to talk about tonight because this is an old thing that you took out.
I played a trick on you.
Yeah, you played a trick all right.
You see, I wanted to see if you were just reading off the script or if you knew what you were talking about. I forgot to edit.
We've got some Mustang vests to give away this year at the Fishing Canada Ripples, so make sure you get signed up.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that is for sure. That is for sure. So I think we're pretty well done. We are available on...
You can find us on iTunes in the podcast section under Mike and Scott's BS Sessions.
Yes, you can.
You can also find us on Stitcher Smart Radio mobile app, Blog Talk Radio for your laptop or desktop.
Yep.
FishingCanada.net.
Yep.
WRVO
Radio Network.
Located at Reno Viola, Outdoors.com.
And Spreaker. Yes.
Spreaker's blowing up.
Oh, Spreaker's crazy. Spreaker.com. Look at the BS session. And you'll be able to subscribe to all our shows, listen to some of the past shows. We have a great time doing this thing. If you're in the area in Brossard, drop into the garage.
Stop by the garage.
And come talk fishing. You can get on the show.
7392?
73, We Got Fish, Brossard.
Okay, I got it.
Look for the bullet with the Evinrude parked in the driveway, and you found us. Busted.
Yeah, you just look for a bass boat. If you see a bass boat with an HO on the back, you're at the right place.
You've got the right spot.
And if it's not the right door, I'm sure whoever's it belongs to will.
Yeah, they'll probably...
they'll take you in just as well.
They will send you in the right direction, no doubt. So, to everybody...
Thank you all for listening to the show again this week.
We appreciate having you all.
We look forward to doing the show next week.
Certainly.
Next week, who's on the show next week? We got a big guest.
Well, we have a guest next week. Our sponsor guest next week is none other than the owner of Voodoo Customs, Mr. Ben Wu, and Sheldon Hatch.
In the flesh.
World famous walleye, basically crazy guy.
Well, we'll have Ben in the flesh. Is Sheldon in town?
Will Ben be here in the flesh, or will be like...
I think we're going to get Ben.
We'll be sending a proxy.
We'll get Ben in the flesh.
There you go. So we got some good stuff coming down the pipe for next week. We hope to have it all around. Make sure you subscribe on Spreaker.com and Blog Talk Radio. We will see you next week. Scotty, it is time to punch the card. Tight lines, everybody.
This one's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can subscribe on iTunes, the WRVO Network, Spreaker.com, www.blogtalkradio.com, and www.